Well, good weekend, all. Ira Epstein, and here's your weekend edition of your metal market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for Saturday, and we're at the 10th of May, 2025. I want to wish moms out there a happy Mother's Day. And with that in mind, I want you to know that here we go with our Mother's Day sale. So it's pretty simple, 1/3 off. I don't longer work with monthly video month to month. I do now quarters or yearly. So you're going to get 3 months for the price of 2. It can either be for the futures only. Works out to be about what? $11.50, $11 a month, just over that. You can see 3 months of the Spider video. You can get the combo of the 2 for $66, or you can get the complete futures, which includes my written updates twice daily, along with the morning video of the futures. So pretty good deal. Take advantage of it for yourself. I think that you won't see this one again. Another Mother's Day is not going to happen this year. And I want to wish all a happy Mother's Day. All righty. And there'll be a cursor up here. You can click that at any point. If you're on a PC, it'll take you right to our site for it. I'm sending out an email with it to everybody. That'll go out Sunday. Okay. So as we look at the markets, the energy's closed with a bid. As you know, China and the United States met today, Saturday. I understand the meeting was about 8 hours. It wasn't straight through. They broke for lunch. Then they went back. I think they were at the ambassador, the ambassador the U.S. has to Sweden. I think that's where they met, but I'm not certain on that. They have agreed to meet again tomorrow, and that's a good sign. Had they met 2 hours and they all went to lunch and they didn't come back, well, you know, nothing was getting done. The fact that they had a longer meeting, I'm reading that it was 8 hours, and that they've agreed to meet again tomorrow, well, they're not asking how the families are doing. So they're trying to work through issues, not for a final deal, but I'm sure the U.S. is saying, we want that fentanyl stopped, and blah, blah, and China's saying this is what it is, you can't be doing this, and that tariff you have on any ship, just the ship tax that comes into a port, that's got to go. So every side's got their arguments, they'll make them. It's interesting that Treasury Secretary Bessent and Jamieson Greer were told by the president that the president thinks the tariff should go down to 80%, 65% off. But he said that you do what you feel is right if you do anything. So we know that Scott Bessent had said 50 to 60% tariffs are where he thought was right. So he can play good guy and get into the graces, and China will see that, by going 50, 60% under what the president did. I think if you get 80%, it means that the talks went so-so. If you're 50, 60, I think they went better. 50, 60 is still a huge number. Will some items be excluded? I'm sure. We've seen that on both sides already, so that's going to happen. Let's see what's at. The first move off of that, if you see that, should be Sunday night, and you'll probably see the stock indices higher on that news if it's positive. I would guess it's a bit lower in the gold market off that news. We saw that in Ukraine. It got the EU backing and the United States for a 30-day proposal to go now to the Russians, and an agreement on all parties that if Russia doesn't go for the 30-day deal, that huge sanctions to cripple everything to do with oil from Russia go on Russia. Well, that's not bearish. And remember, the U.S. is now talking to Iran tomorrow about stopping their nuclear spots. I crack up when they say they found a new nuclear site for development in Iran. Do you honestly think we don't know every inch of land and where these are? And when they showed a picture, it's not underground, it's right there. I laugh because it's been there. We're just not told things. You know that. Our press is very controlled by the military, the government. They tell us what they want us to know. All right. So in the gold, the silver, the copper is going to rely on what the internals are to China right now, and they're bad. Today, the factory gate numbers came out, 6-month low. Now, understand that factory prices, they call it the factory gate. Understand, please, if they're dropping, it must mean that products are being overproduced. They lost the American market. We are 15% of their exports. We used to be 18%. We're about 15. China's still avoiding the U.S. It did a big grain deal over the weekend for wheat. Of course, the U.S. was locked out of that, as it should be right now. First, they've got to make some deals. And as you know, the president's had a deal with the Chinese, and they didn't live up to it. They'll use the excuse of COVID, but COVID came and went, and they still didn't live up to it. So there's got to be some teeth to this, and I don't think they can be trusted like the Iranians. Same thing. Iranians can say, the government can say one thing, don't you dare believe them. And we will see where it all goes. India, Pakistan, which affects gold. They've been fighting. I understand that 100 jets were in the air in dogfights. So that's pretty amazing. Lots of drones. Then you woke up early this morning and I saw the text on Trump's on his social media that he has brokered a deal and peace is there. Well, that lasted about 2 hours. And then India claims it was hit. They retaliated. I don't know where this is at, but they're both nuclear powers, so the world is watching, and that's not a not bid in the gold market. All right, so let's go to the chart action. In the gold, here you sit, and you were up 1.18% for the month so far, and this would be an all-time high close if the month were over. When you come to a weekly bar chart, you haven't gone for the highs yet. You've come back up. What you don't want to see taken out is right through there, last week's lows. The pattern of the chart is higher lows, but not higher highs. Well, it's still higher highs. We don't know where this is going to end up. Are you going to go over 2 weeks ago's high of 34.8560? You certainly could. We will see on a weekly chart what it wants to do. But I'm telling you, I don't want to see this low taken out. And it's right there on this chart. The Bollinger Band is what's stopping the rally, as you can see. And when you look at momentum, you lost the bullish reading. So typically when that happens, typically within 2 weeks, which you've now done, all right, you should not. When did we lose the reading? Maybe we should back up and take a look at that. That's the first thing, so I know what I'm saying here. You had the reading here on the 25th. On May 2nd, you lost the reading on Friday. You haven't gained it back. You should not for 2 weeks take it out, and during that time, normally the market and price try to come together. This works much better on daily charts than on weekly charts, but the theory is there. But if you take out 34.85, it's what we call a trap, and often the market adds a leg to it. Where to? I haven't discussed that yet with you, and I will if it happens. Right now, I think a trade top is in place, and that's what I look at. When you look at a weekly area chart, you can just see the market's fighting a battle in the gold-silver ratio here, where you've been here for about 4 or 5 weeks, just hanging in that level. The market on silver did correct, went back down to the 18-week average this week, held it. Now, if the market were to get over 2 weeks ago's high, what would happen without taking out last week's low, not the past week, the week before that, which is 31.68, I'd get actually a buy signal in the market. You've already corrected from overbought. That would give you higher lows, higher highs, and I think the trade would be looking very hard then at 34.75. The daily chart is interesting too, and we'll talk about that Monday. In the copper market, as I just told you, the factory gate was terrible, 6-month low, and CPI's at a 3-month low. So China needs to get things going. Don't you dare think that China can just walk through this. Their biggest client, the United States, 15% of their export business, isn't got anything coming in. Yes, I know they can pick up a piece of more here, they can do more there. They're not going to get 15%. And if they did and they got us back, they'd be in even better shape, right? That's the way to look at it. So let's hope that everybody finds common ground in some way to do a deal. But right here, copper, the market closed at 461.10, which is under the 18-week average of 461.40. What do we have? Lower highs, lower lows, and the bias down. The trend is down. You'd have to get back over last week's high to negate this. Let me get to that right here. That number high, 491.45. It's a heck of a lot of risk. It's 30 cents at $250 per cent. I'll let somebody else want to play that game. Last but not least, platinum. Higher lows, higher highs. And I think the pros are going to buy it at 975.90. And this week's low of 957, that's probably the number they don't want to see it get back under. And in the dollar, it's a bounce in a bear market with an embedded reading. I think you look at the market fresh tomorrow, not right here. What did the U.S. and China accomplish, if anything? If they accomplish something, I would think it's initially friendly the dollar until we read into the details. The details, as they say, the devil's in the details. So I want to see that, and I'm going to hold off on saying a word until I get a chance to see what that's doing. Again, the Mother's Day sale, there'll be an icon up here. You can go to iraepstein.com, and there'll be an email that you get with the right link and everything for this. In the meantime, you have yourself a great Mother's Day weekend. I'll catch up with you all come Monday morning at the flash update. And for my paid subscribers, the people that have these, I haven't put out yet your weekend updates, and I'm waiting until I see tomorrow morning what happened between the U.S. and China so I can give you better guidance. You have a great day, all.